So you asked me, we were making love the other night, and I started crying. I wouldn't say uncontrollably, but I could have gotten to uncontrollably very easily. And you asked why, and I said I didn't want to explain it at the time. And so you just asked me again, why were you crying the other night when we were making love? And and this is the answer. Now, I know that you study the Holocaust a lot, and I make fun of you that you love that if it's not a film about Hitler, you may not be interested in stuff like that. I make fun of your obsession with the Holocaust. But I don't know if you realize how often I think about the Holocaust myself. You usually think about it from a Jewish perspective, and I think that I usually think about it from a gay perspective because gay people were persecuted as well, as were Jehovah's Witnesses and what are the other groups? Political prisoners, gypsies. They killed more Jews than anyone else, but they certainly were not the only group that got exterminated. That's where the pink triangle comes from. I know you know, but I'm telling people on the video. And I have often thought, well, God, Harvey is Jewish. The circumstances could have been very easy that you, I mean, you were in New York, not Germany, or not in Europe, but your family came from Russia. You could have ended up in Europe instead of the United States. It could have happened, and you could have, if the circumstances were different, you could have been taken to a concentration camp if you were living in Europe at the same age that you were born. It could have happened to you, and I have always thought about how well fragile you are. You're a little bit fragile. I mean, not like I wouldn't say the totality of your personality is fragile, but there's fragile elements to your personality, and one of them is discomfort and pain and being sick. And I mean, when things are not going well for you, like if you get hurt physically, or if something's going wrong and there's misery involved, you don't take it well. And I have always thought, oh my God, what if Harvey had been one of the Holocaust victims? And I've tried to imagine the horror that you would have gone through if it had happened. And I keep, and I start saying, thank God it never happened to him, that he never had to go through that. But I said, but other people did have to. He was just lucky. You were spared, but other people weren't. And it could easily have been you in different circumstances. And I think a lot about those images of people sleeping in those long bunks where they're just piled up against each other as if it was just one long bed. It's like a wooden stall, and maybe they had straw on it to make them mildly comfortable, but then keeping them comfortable was not what was on the Nazis' minds. In fact, the fucking opposite was. So I've often thought about what if Harvey was one of them, and how you would have reacted. It's horrifying, and it makes me sad thinking about it. And so when we were making love the other day, I started imagining, what if we were in a concentration camp in Auschwitz or any of them right now? Because they did have to, I mean, they must have had sex with each other whenever they could. I mean, it was probably easier for gay people, because if two gay people were, I mean, there had to be some playing around, despite the circumstances and the misery and the horror. There had to be moments where they were playing around with each other. I mean, at some point, it had to happen. And so I started imagining that we were there in those bunks and that we were secretly making love in Auschwitz or one of those places. And it became so real that it was like I was really there. And then I started thinking about the fascist Trump regime that we're in right now. And it's becoming just like that. And we've already have concentration camps. They're not the same kind, but we still have concentration camps already. And we're gay men, so we're targets. And it could only be a matter of time before we're victims. It probably will only be a matter of time before we are victims. How severely we are victims, we don't know yet. Just the fact that I've thought about the Holocaust conditions and I've imagined them, and then I was thinking about them when we were making love, and it became so real, I thought I really was there. And then that connected to the situation we're in now, and that it is not inconceivable that we would be in that exact situation before we die. He could start his crusade against homosexuals and start persecutions and concentration camps in our lifetime. You're 87, but it's not too late. There's plenty of time for that to happen and for that situation to unfold and become real. And we could be in concentration camps before too long. It's certainly conceivable. I mean, if it weren't for Hitler, we would say there's no way it could happen. But now we know it can happen, and now we know he's heading that direction, and there's very little stopping him. And so it was like, I thought about it, I was there, I thought about how it could happen in the future, and then in the middle of it, in the bed, it was real to me. I was both imagining we were us in Auschwitz and us as we are today in somewhere else. What was the CCOT? Whatever. Well, they wouldn't send us to CCOT. They'd have a special place just for gay people. I don't know what they would do, but they would do something horrible and will. And so that's what it was. It was that I wasn't just thinking about it. It became so absolutely real that I couldn't help but cry while we were making love, because that's a reality we might have to deal with, and it's a reality other people did have to deal with. That's why I was crying. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. My joke to myself, I don't know if I've ever said it. I may have said this out loud before, but I said, I've thought about it, and Harvey really wouldn't like the concentration camps. I think he should steer clear of that. No, I know well enough. Trust me, he's not going to like it. Tell him not to go. He's not going to like it. I know him. I know him too well. I mean, most of them, it's just going to be the first day, and then they'll adjust to it. Harvey won't even adjust to it. He won't like it ever.